Hi everyone, my name is Etty Shurak, and my brother is currently missing. His name is Bernard Grempel, and he often goes by Bernie, and he is 28 years old. He was last seen 1 month ago on May 14th, taking the SkyTrain from his apartment. He used his bus card to get onto a bus to North Delton, Surrey. I'd like to thank everyone who has been helping us in our search efforts. Thank you so much to the countless volunteers who have participated in search parties and to those who have been sharing on social media, as well as the people who have reached out to our family with love and support and sending meals and treats for all of us. So I'd like to share with you a little about my brother. Words cannot express the devastation of this experience for my parents as well as for myself. It has been so painful and confusing for my children. Bernard is so close with my parents. He visits them often. He's very much a mama's boy, and he speaks with my mother and my father almost daily. As for my children, my brother sees my children weekly. They love spending time with him playing games, going to the playground, playing soccer, basketball. He comes over to our house regularly for dinner, and he doesn't miss any special occasions like birthday celebrations, holidays. He's literally the model uncle. Bernard is a really loyal friend to his buddies. He has a close relationship with his tight-knit circle of friends of 15 years, who he's been friends with since high school and their soccer days. For those who've only met Bernard briefly, they all tell me how much of a nice and friendly guy Bernard is. Bernard's a university graduate with a degree in accounting. I've spoken with his past colleagues and managers, and they all have incredibly glowing things to say about him with regards to his teamwork and work ethic. Bernard is an athletic guy who loves nature. He has been playing competitive and recreational sports for nearly 25 years. He started playing soccer when he was 5, combining his speed and his soccer skills as a striker, and he continues playing in a men's league. He was also a competitive swimmer for 15 years, reaching provincial level. Now, a lot of people who think of Bernard think of him as a coach. He combined his love for swimming and his passion for working with children. He started off as a volunteer coach with the swim club and moved up to a junior coach and then a senior coach and then was promoted to be the head coach for the club. So many of his past swimmers and the parents of the kids who he's coached have reached out to me, sharing beautiful stories of all the different ways Bernard has impacted their children. They shared memories of Bernard working gently and sensitively with each child and teen and helping them reach their potential. Bernard truly has a rare talent when it comes to working with children. As challenging and devastating and painful as this situation has been, the stress has been further compounded based on our interactions with the Surrey RCMP. My family immigrated to Canada when I was a child. In fact, my brother was the first one in our family to be born outside of Europe. Being that English is a second language for my parents, and they are seniors, my parents asked me to be the point person with the RCMP. So, I tremendously value honesty, transparency, and authenticity. I have found my communications with the RCMP to be highly lacking in these elements. Along the way of the investigation, I've asked specific and direct questions, and the RCMP's most common response has been, "We are looking into that." That's all. We are looking into that. Very few times did I receive direct answers. I feel like the RCMP made up their mind about Bernard based on very limited information they had about him. They used this to construct a theory and were very reluctant to look at other leading information which contradicted their initial theory. From the get-go, the media release that the RCMP made was extremely inaccurate. They used a photo of my brother, which was over a year old. In that photo, my brother had tried bleaching his hair, but he promptly changed his mind and went back after a week of deciding it wasn't for him. However, that's the photo they decided to post. They said that his hair is shoulder length and he weighs 150 pounds. Although his hair is nowhere near shoulder length, and while he's slim, he weighs more than 150 pounds. It was also said that he was last seen wearing a burgundy sweater, which was not the case. He was last seen wearing a white hoodie. I'm not sure where RCMP got this picture. It wasn't from my parents. In the RCMP media release, they wrote that Bernard is apprehendable and has a Form 21 issued by the Mental Health Act for his return to the hospital. Yes, my brother has mental health challenges, but so do a quarter of the world's population. However, where I'm confused is why they wrote return to the hospital, as Bernard was living on his own prior to his disappearance. The corporal told my mother just a few days after my brother went missing that the main theory was suicide. The corporal had not spoken with Bernard's psychiatrist or any of his counselors, even though I urged them to do so. After speaking with the RCMP officers in Vancouver Police Department, New West Police Department, Delta Police Department, I've discovered that tagging bus footage is a primary step in many, if not most, investigations. Not tagging the 340 bus footage has resulted in us not knowing which stop my brother got off at. My mother told RCMP from the first day very detailed information about my brother's bus pass. However, it seems RCMP did not utilize this information, and instead it took them much longer to obtain his transit record. RCMP only informed us on May 25th that Bernard was last seen at the 22nd Street station and then swiped his card on the 340 bus. Yet apparently they knew this since May 20th or May 21st. So for 5 days, we and all of our volunteers were searching in all the wrong areas. RCMP told us they didn't want to get our hopes up by telling us sooner since they hadn't verified the video footage, and that because bus cards are transferable, perhaps someone stole my brother's bus card. So when they got the SkyTrain footage, I'm not sure why they did not get the bus footage. If it were a route that Bernard had never taken, that they found on his transit card, for example, to Maple Ridge or to Hope, then perhaps it would leave them wondering if someone did indeed steal his bus card. However, he was taking the route one would take to get to our parents' home. My mother had asked RCMP to find out from the transit company which stop the 340 bus actually made that night. However, the constable told my mother she was wrong and that the bus stops at every stop. I had also asked the sergeant to look into this and was told that RCMP would call the transit company, but that it's a complicated process. After not hearing back from the RCMP, my husband filled out a Freedom of Information request to the transit company directly, and we received an email from them within a couple of days detailing what actual stops the bus made. We found out that of the 13 stops along the bus route, the bus actually only stopped at 6 of the stops. Had we known this earlier, we could have directed all of our search efforts solely to those 6 bus stops. In fact, we then shared this record of information with the RCMP. So my brother, he's an athletic guy who enjoys the outdoors. As kids and teens, we often explored the trails of the Watershed Park in North Delta. My brother has continued to hang out there with his friends and solo. Since a quarter of the stops the 340 bus makes are along the watershed, we asked RCMP to deploy a land search and rescue team to the watershed. The RCMP insisted, though, on doing a water search and rescue operation 2 weeks after my brother went missing along the Fraser River. When I inquired as to the reason why, I was told that it's because my brother has a mental health diagnosis. However, a mental health diagnosis does not equate with suicide. My brother was taking his daily medication, seeing his counselor regularly, and attending appointments with his psychiatrist. I urged the RCMP to speak with his mental health team, who know him well, and who had seen him that same week he went missing. But RCMP told me that because the 340 bus travels along the Alex Fraser Bridge, there is a risk of jumping off that bridge. But the bus doesn't actually stop on the bridge. Furthermore, my brother has a bridge much closer to his neighborhood, the Port Mann Bridge. However, they had made up their mind that suicide was the leading probable cause for my brother's disappearance, and so they stuck with investigating that theory. The RCMP was adamant not to do a land search and rescue, but solely a water one. The corporal texted me that the search and rescue could not go in until the weekend because the weather conditions were not safe until then. It was a mix of sunny, cloudy, drizzle, and light rain on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I decided to call, and I spoke with both the BC Search and Rescue Association as well as the South Fraser Search and Rescue team, which would be the one doing the actual mission. When I asked about the weather, they told me that they're trained to go in pouring rain, snow, sleet, avalanches, hurricanes. The South Fraser Search and Rescue professional told me that they were not going in earlier because RCMP said that it was not urgent and that it could wait until the weekend. After I begged and pleaded with RCMP to do a land search as well, they deployed the search and rescue land team to search the watershed. However, this was only done on May 30th, 2 weeks after my brother went missing. The RCMP never interviewed anyone from my brother's apartment building. Again, all other police departments have stated that this is one of the first steps that should be done in an investigation. They also didn't interview me or my husband, who my brother is very close with. The RCMP only started their contact with me once my parents appointed me as the contact person. In the meantime, I had knocked on each one of the doors in Bernard's 42-unit apartment building, speaking with many of his neighbors. The RCMP also didn't follow up on getting footage from the indoor and outdoor cameras at the apartment building. My parents were the ones to request this information from the property manager. I got a call from the RCMP staff sergeant this past Thursday, and he told me that they would be moving into the next stage of the investigation. It would entail a coroner's inquiry, which involves obtaining dental records, DNA, and x-rays. When I asked what this means for the investigation itself, I was told that since it's been 4 weeks, RCMP can no longer put the same resources into the investigation, and that they would complete the tasks they were in the process of finishing, and would follow any new leads that came their way, but they would not initiate new strategies and options. It has been 4 weeks since my brother went missing, and the RCMP have not obtained and reviewed all the video footage from the areas. In fact, it has been our volunteers who canvassed the areas and reported various cameras to the RCMP. To this date, there are half a dozen video cameras directly beside the 3 bus stops my brother could have gotten off at that the RCMP have not yet reviewed the footage from. More surprising is that RCMP did not find these cameras themselves. It was my husband, myself, and our volunteers who found them. As for moving forward, our main request to the RCMP is the camera footage from those 3 main intersections, and for it to be collected before any more of it is overwritten. This includes traffic cameras, business cameras, and people's homes, their security cameras. RCMP failed to get the bus footage before it was overwritten, which would have told us which bus stop my brother got off at. I'm surprised that 4 weeks later, they have still not yet collected the footage from those intersections. So, despite the RCMP telling me that they are moving to the next stage of the investigation, my husband, myself, my parents, and our close friends will continue searching for Bernard. And we really thank everyone who shares our commitment.
Okay, can you tell us what the reward that we're offering?
Yes, our family has put together a $20,000 reward to any information that leads to Bernard's return home.
Okay. And what kind of next steps would you like the public to take and to help us in this?
So I'd like to thank the public for all of their help to this point. I'd like to ask the public to continue helping us join in our search parties, as well as to continue sharing on social media, because the more people that see and hear about Bernard, the higher the likelihood of us finding him.
Can you tell us where he was last seen?
So my brother was last seen on the CCTV footage at the 22nd SkyTrain station. He then swiped his bus card on the 340 bus, which heads to the North Delta Surrey area.
And in what area would people live to take a look at their own cameras between that 11:15 and 2 a.m. time?
So the two main areas of the three, we've more or less ruled out the third area, but the two main areas are 64th and Scott Road, as well as 72nd and Scott Road. However, at this point, being that it's been 4 weeks since then, we ask that everyone and anyone in the Lower Mainland continue keeping their eyes out.
And what was he wearing last?
So Bernard was last seen wearing a white hoodie, burgundy track pants, as well as black Nike shoes. In all of this, and thank you everyone for watching.